This is Miami All Access. Welcome into This Week in Miami Golf. I'm Steve Baker, joined by the head coach of the Red Hawks, Zach Zedrick, as the Red Hawks finish 8th in the FGCU Invite, the Open down in Florida. And not a great finish, but we just talked with Patrick Flavin, had a really solid round, and you saw some good things, I'm sure.
Saw some good things. Yeah, Pat, I think he might have only been out of the top 20 once the whole fall. So for a freshman to come in and get settled and really play overall very consistently is awesome. So really hard golf course. The nice thing about where we were able to compete this week is that this is a very similar golf course to the Concession, also in Florida. Very similar as far as site and layout. They're very similar golf courses, and Concession's hosting the NCAA championship. Right. So to be able to, go down and get some experience on a golf course, if we happen to get there, we got a team that is good enough to potentially get there. Good to, get a taste of what it's like. And, we got off to an okay start. Luke Shaughnessy shot even the first round. That really kind of saved our round a little bit. And we were in 4th place. Just, I don't know how else to say, we just did not play well that afternoon, and we're in 8th. Scott played well on Tuesday. He shot even. Pat hung in there, got off to a really rough start, but managed to play his last, I think, 7 or 8 holes in even par to finish up the tournament well. But just not what we're capable of, and it's disappointing. It's our last event of the fall, and that's kind of the taste we got in our mouth. So.
I was talking with Patrick, and one of the things I asked him was the adjustment as a freshman. We hear about it all the time. Obviously, time management is important, right. But he seems to, and you mentioned it, he seems to has come in and adjusted to 36 holes in a day and that sort of thing, and the classes to do very well. Yeah,
he's doing just fine in school. That's something that we're always paying very close attention to, how our guys are handling themselves in class, and he's made that adjustment fine. He's getting along well with his teammates. He's made that adjustment really well, and I think that's a very underrated aspect of, we've talked about this for, this is the 4th year talking about this stuff. But he's made that adjustment well, and then to come in and like I said, play his way into the lineup, and we've played a good schedule this fall, and to, just really be as consistent as he has. I mean, it's, like I said, it's great, and I think it's just a sign of, of more to come, and it's been it's been fun coaching him, and frankly, our whole team. Like I told you the very first interview we did, this is just it's a good group of guys, and it's a team that we're in a place where we really want to do some things, and they want to. They're in a place where let's see how good we can get. So,
Well, here we are. The final event of the fall campaign is over with. How has this team progressed from beginning till now?
Well, I think early on we had we hung in there in a couple of really good fields at Wolf Run and Ohio State. The guys definitely felt like we still could have been better there, but the scoring was very tight. Kind of where we were at 3rd to 8th place. So they were very competitive events. Then we went to Firestone. We had a chance to win. That was great. I think we learned a lot from that experience. And then I think we learned a lot in kind of, how we can maybe better handle, a good string of golf and how to keep it going, because really finishing 7th at Pine Tree and finishing 8th this past weekend down in Naples, we just underperformed, and there was a week off. At that time we had played 3 weeks in a row, and we needed that time.
Right.
So I think the guys in general have a little better idea. Okay, how do I get back in the swing of things? I think we learned a lot this 2 weeks, and I think there's just a lot in the last couple of days where I think we're on a good track. There's some things we still got to clean up and get better at, but we're in a good place. And if you look at it individually, Scott was in the mix a couple times to win. Jack was in the mix once, and you got a player like Pat who really, you can almost just put it in the bank that he's going to finish somewhere on the top 20 or 25. Sure. So, that core nucleus has been really good for us. And then you've seen Luke Shaughnessy in the 4th spot. He's had some really good, single round performances, and I think there's room for him to gain some consistency. And I think we know what we need to address with all of those guys individually, and someone's gonna answer the bell on that 5th spot. And we've got a group of guys that are good enough to do it. And it's just a matter of, here we are, it's October 29th. Who is going to take advantage of it from today to the end of January, where we get back, into the swing of things. And, it's going to be an interesting few months as far as who's going to step up and who's going to, put in the work, put in the time to, put themselves in a position where, hey, I'm gonna hold up the back end of the lineup.
Well, here we are, 2 months away, just a little over 2 months away from the match play event, with the Mid-American Conference match play event down in Florida. A lot of that time is the individuals working on that, or do you get a chance?
Yeah, it's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. This is an interesting time for us because really the rest of this week is off. We have really just 3 weeks, and then we have the week of Thanksgiving where basically it's just one lift. And then when we come back, there's 1 week before finals. And because we're in our off season, we're really not able to do anything. So from a golf standpoint, it's, we don't have anything structured specifically as far as you're coming in at this time and this is how we're going to use our 2 hours with the guys. When I played in college, it was a time where it was an opportunity to take a little bit of a break from golf. It just fits best because we start at the end of January, and between our spring season, between summer golf and then the fall season, it's like 10 months of golf. Right. So that stretch in November can be a good time to take 2 or 3 weeks and just decompress and kind of get yourself back to neutral. But the position we're in, where we get back from Thanksgiving and then it's basically finals in your home, it's a lot of it is just taking personal ownership of it. But a lot of the conversations I've had with guys, there's going to be, Pat. I think Pat's going out to Houston Woods right now. I think that's where he was going after his conversation. So he's a guy that you may almost have to tell, hey Pat, why don't you take 4 or 5 days off? Yeah. But for the most part, we really do. We've got a group of guys that they're going to take a little bit of time, make sure things are in a good place with school, and then you're going to see as we get closer to Thanksgiving and around finals, you're going to see things pick back up. And for the most part, where guys go home to and what their plans are, we've got some guys that are going to go down to Florida for a little while. Scott Cahill, he lives out in Vegas, so the weather's good out there. December, January, we're going to have guys that are going to have an opportunity to get some work in and get back into it. So my expectation is that January, I think 26th rolls around, we're going to have a team of guys that are itching to get back at it. So.
Well, enjoy the break while you can, and we'll talk again in January.
Thanks, Beck.
As we continue our look at This Week in Miami Golf, I'm joined by freshman golfer Patrick Flavin. He is from Chicago, Illinois, and was Miami's top finisher this week in the FGCU Invitational down in Florida. Tell us about the tournament. Not a bad tournament for you individually. Not the best for Miami, though.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. It was a really good golf course, and we had a lot of good competition with the number 1 ranked school in the country, Florida State. But obviously we didn't play our best as a team, but individually I played well, hung in there, and it was good.
Tell us about your weekend. Obviously, as top finisher, you were fairly consistent throughout the weekend, and had a pretty good overall tournament.
I played really consistent. I hit the ball very well and made a few putts, which is always important. I was really close to being up near the top of the leaderboard, so that was good to see. Good way to finish.
Talk about your journey so far as a freshman coming in here. Obviously, top finisher. That's a great accomplishment. But as your journey as individually, since you started here, what's the dynamics difference there from coming from high school to a college?
Yeah, obviously the courses are a lot different. They're a lot tougher and a lot longer, which is a change. And then obviously having the 36-hole day. So we have 36 the first day and 18 the second day. Well, that's a big change, being out there all day long. So I think it's just takes some time to adjust, and it really worked out well for me so far.
Talk about the team now, as that was the final event of the fall. You got a couple of months off here, for the winter and that sort of thing. But this team has progressed pretty steadily throughout the course of the fall, improved their rankings, and has moved up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a really solid team. A lot of really good competition at home, which is really important, and we've got a couple really good leaders with Scott as our captain. He's a really good player, so following what he does and what the rest of the seniors are doing has been a huge help. And yeah, we've played really well this fall, which is good to see.
How you spend the next few months working to get better before the spring schedule rolls around?
You gotta take what the weather gives you. So when you can get outside, you do it. And then we got really good facilities here, so we can get a lot of work in. So just work on some stuff. Work on the stuff you can. Now is the time to work on your swing. So that's what I'll be doing.
We'll wish you the best of luck.
Thanks very much.
For joining us. Patrick Flavin joining us, and that's This Week in Miami Golf.